You know, I've been driving here, wallowing, I guess is the best way to put it, and I started my video a couple of times and people called me, and I was more than happy to cut the video off myself, actually. It's pretty hard to find any reasonable amount of optimism in such a horrible 2 days. You know, yesterday I went down to Kentucky. You know, we had an okay day. Roser and Alexander's mishap, where there was an accident in the race and they refunded it, whatever. Fire and shine, drew the outside, whatever. And then, you know, we had a couple of clients that had complained about the racing and whatever. It was just racing. It just happens. Then, you know, I go over, we looked at all the horses all morning. It was a great morning. Go over Memento Mori 10 hole. Now, you know, I watched the race a couple of times. Really, at that point in the first turn, Scott had two options, last or first. I said this last night. You know, somebody said, well, just, you know, Scott's going to be in the Hall of Fame. Yeah, well, Scott could be the best driver in the world. There was no hole there for him. Last or first, that was it. In hindsight, yeah, I would have picked last rather than break, but don't get that option. Country dancing, flat, I think, was the easiest way to put it. I think she might have been a little bit sick. It's good. It's going around. Remembering imagination, somebody said, you know, I wish you had left with him. There was a 0% chance. If there was one human being on planet Earth that would have left with him, it was me. And when I tell you that there was a 0% chance I was leaving with him, that's because it was the wrong move. I already saw what happened leaving with Memory and Imagination with this crew. He got absolutely chewed into the ground 2 starts ago in Lexington. Was never leaving with him. Thought the horse knifed through and raced as good as he could. Really close to being really happy with getting a check. Didn't happen. So, a little crabby, but still had lots to look forward to the rest of the week, right? That was all about to change. Got to watch the races last night. I thought Princess Dream raced kind of flat. All Gas No Brakes was awesome. Yo Mister was awesome. Resolve Indeed was okay. Tenacious Hanover was terrible. I can't really tell you why. He looked sound. That's good. But for a horse that I schooled in 52 in a piece, that then went out and subsequently paced 151 following speed, to go out and get beaten 57 in an Elmer's a 2 at Northfield is 1, shocking, and 2, shocking. We'll square him away soon enough. Now my day, today, was a day I'll remember for a while, and not for anything good. I woke up, and for some reason, I woke up early. I was planning on sleeping in, to be honest. I woke up early. Amy was calling. 7 o'clock. Talked to the kids, talked to Amy on the phone, ready to start my day. Looked down, I had 2 messages. I opted for the first message because the heading was Princess Dream. I didn't know the number right offhand. It was somebody looking to buy Princess Dream for a fairly significant sum of money. Now, when we buy some of these fillies, obviously residual broodmare value is something we talk about. It's an exit strategy. It's very important. And in this case, it came in and played a major role. And as we take roll call on the filly this afternoon into this evening, she likely will be sold. Not the end of the world. Considering she almost was ready to put away. I went to bed last night and I wanted to mull it over. I was almost thinking of turning around. Now the other message. That one wasn't so good. Message from Tim saying the horse wasn't good and he was looking for some direction. I want a race time is on my side the rest of the year. He's a good horse. To take him to the toughest race of his life, with the rail or otherwise, and race not once but twice in the heat, just was unfair to the horse. So that was that. So my day is destroyed. I go to the track. Eric said Pickpocket was a little picky with his supper last night. He had a slight temperature. They bathed him off. His temperature come down. He ate his lunch, or ate his supper, ate his breakfast. Seems okay. Odd, but okay. I warm him up. He seems okay. Sound. Happy. Not overly aggressive like he usually is, but nothing seemed off about him to me. 2 steps out of the gate, he just didn't feel like himself. Usually you tap him on the tail and he'll drag you right off the car like he wants to get out of there. I didn't see that today. I looked left. He was advancing, but kind of on a loose line, right? Which, again, is not like pickpocket. Now, I guess in hindsight, had I cost Scotty the race, I would have been a little upset. Maybe I did, but of course at 1, I believe, I almost need a set of binoculars to see him. 50-1, just destroyed them. But pickpocket, even when Scotty was coming at the half, I couldn't keep the whole field. He wasn't himself. He wasn't good. Come to find out, he was a little bit sick. Seems to be going around. And then, of course, now I'm angry. I don't want to bring down everybody's day, so I just get in my car and I leave. Good luck to Scotty. Good luck to Eric and Kathy. See you later. Driving down the road, tune in. Westland Warrior makes a break behind the gate. Just all in all, not a good day. And a day that I wanted to quite quickly forget. Truth be told. But, I mean, at the end of the day, you know, this game is much like any, well, it's a singular event, but it feels like a team sport, right? And in any team sport, take the field, whatever that field may be, you compete. If you lose, you figure out why and you fix it. If you win, you shake hands and figure out if you can do better. It's much like horse racing, right? Not hard how to figure out how to do better when it comes to the last 2 days. 1, keep the horses trotting. That would help. That's just the way it is. You could tell Westland Warrior caught Scotty off guard, and I think Scotty said that he felt great today. He just rolled off, going up to the car. I don't know why. Memento Mori got pushed in the first turn in a bad spot because of a bad draw. He made a break. Pickpocket, a little under the weather. Let him get healthy. And time, well, time. You know, every so often, we are always on a pretty good run, right? We have days, weeks when we're a little flat. Maybe the horses didn't race good, but they always bounce back, and we always stay with our foot pretty firmly against the floor. We've had a lot of luck. But these days, these weeks, these moments will test you. Certainly will test me. I have been in no shape to speak to all day. I've tried to be as polite as I can. But even I have my tipping points and my boiling points. And as I told my wife last week, doing these videos sometimes helps me too, right? I'm only human. I can only take so much. And talking issues, problems out helps everybody. It certainly helps me. So I want to try and just turn the page. I hope that Freedom Hill race is good. I hope the Gymboree race is good. Chicago Hall, everybody, I can't deal with any more of that today. It's in everybody else's hands. Jason and Brett are in charge in Delaware, Scotty and Eric in Ontario, Dominic and James in Ontario, and so on and so forth. Megan and Mark in Yonkers. Good luck to you. I don't want to talk about any more of it today. My job is done for the day. I can't do anything more right now driving down the highway, but what I can do is talk about, give you guys an update. I should have woke up this morning and not looked at my messages and just did an update. I would have been super optimistic. I would have talked about the horses I liked at Kentucky, and I would have talked about the upcoming Kentucky sale. We would have talked about the babies. You know, everybody, you know, as busy as everybody is, Jason Merriman and looked like Joey, everybody, you know, got the horses broke today. Like videos of everybody going by, and I'll post them later on. I think Kelly had them. She may have already posted them for all I know. I had a lot of emails. I want to talk to people about the buckets and what Wendy was doing. I apologize. I didn't touch on that yesterday. She was working on all the buckets behind the scenes. Everybody's saying, well, how come I still have this share? Why is this share here? This isn't what I just... It'll all be over here in another 2 hours at 6 o'clock. For the first time in the last 6 horses we bought, I might actually get a share in a horse, because you'll have till tomorrow at noon to buy any shares in Chevron Bypass. And I talked to Carter Delgatti just for a minute. We just happened to be passing each other going into Starbucks. I was going out, he was going in. Nice kid. He was with Dexter. It's quite the role model to have. One of your good buddies is, you know, one of the best drivers in the world. Seems like a super nice kid. And I just asked him, I said, hey, you drove a horse that I bought off Herb yesterday. He goes, oh, Chevron Bypass. He goes, we actually had her in New Zealand. She's a sweetheart. Really, really nice sort of horse. Which was good to hear. So you'll have till tomorrow at noon, and then I'm finally going to scoop up some shares if you don't want them. It's fine with me. I bought this filly to race in a multitude of classes. Claimers, and if she's good as I hope and good as she might be, maybe you'll be able to do in the Open at Northfield. Now, Carter says she'll get around a half, but I don't think there's many halves. Oh, yeah, sure there is in New Zealand. He thought she would, but I only saw videos of her, so I can't really say with any certainty. I know Joey, who drove her last start, liked her, Putnam. And Marvin Luna drove her also, and he liked her. So between a number of claimers, condition races, between the Meadows and Northfield, there'll be a lot of classes for Chevron Bypass, and that's why we bought her. As much as I love buying numbers, 1, 2, 3, 4 trotters, you can't have them all. They have to move, right? So Victory Blue Chip, those horses, we're going to have to move them out one way or another. The buckets in Ohio, as I said, are, I think there's only 3 horses with shares left, and 2 of them are some of my top picks. A couple of flyers, and 1 horse, really nice horse. So you guys will get to see them. I know everybody's emailing me, Aunt Sarah, Aunt Sarah, Aunt Sarah. There's no Aunt Sarah shares left. It just isn't. They were spoken for immediately, and the tiny amount that weren't spoken for were spoken for immediately as soon as they were opened up to our clients, because the people that own the buckets get 24 hours first. That was the rule. So if I'm to be blunt and truthful, if you got shut out because you weren't in the buckets, it falls under sorry not sorry, because you guys knew going in what was going to happen. Super pleased with the way everything went in Ohio, but we're going to change things up for Kentucky. It's odd because between Daniel, and I feel bad for Daniel. Here's a guy, you think I feel bad? I feel like a spoiled brat compared to Daniel. He flew over here from Australia. Now, of course, he knew Time Is On My Side was going to be in the jug before he came here. He knew he owns a piece of arson. He knew he was racing in the final, which he got to see. But for him not to get to watch Time in the Jug is, I feel worse for him than anybody, even myself, and I feel pretty bad for myself right now. Daniel was looking at a number of horses he liked, and then I had a gentleman call me from New York that wanted to buy a high-end pacing colt. Another gentleman called me today, I'd like to buy a high-end pacing colt. Another gentleman called me 2 days ago, I'd like to buy a high-end pacing colt. So it looks like we're going to get a high-end pacing colt. Now, thankfully, a couple of those people will also buy a high-end trotting horse, filly or colt, either one. So I think one thing's for certain, we'll at least have a high-end pacing horse. Hey, it could be a filly, I suppose, and a high-end trotter also. Those 2 buckets will apparently sell out quite quickly. Then I'm going to follow the lead of my wife. She's ever so smart. I am going to put up 4 Ontario breds because I think Kentucky's a place to go. There's 80 of them being offered in Lexington. So I'm going to put up 4 buckets of Ontario breds. I think don't know how to do it. What do you guys think? A $25,000 bucket? Could be any horse up to $25,000. Maybe a 35, a 45, and a 60. I just pulled that out of my butt, so I don't know if that makes sense to you. I think it sounds good. Pennsylvania, we're going to have some trotting horses that we're going to be looking for. New York. There'll be lots of those in Harrisburg also. I don't want to overload people, and we're going to have buckets. We did have clients that reached out to me and said, nah, I like your bucket system. I don't want any singular things. It just sounds complicated. It does sound complicated, but it seems specific, something that people are interested in also. And there's no reason why we can't have both. So we'll likely have a bucket A. We'll likely have a more economical bucket like we did in Ohio. Then we're going to have that high-end pacer, high-end trotter. As I said, I think 4 Ontario-bred buckets. Some Pennsylvania ones. That way, you guys can watch them all fill up. You know that if there's 14% of the PA trotting colt bucket filled up, I'm not buying one. I'll just close the bucket down, and if people want to buy into a more generic. I feel like I've used the word bucket a lot in the last 3 minutes. And that's where we'll fit them. Does that make sense to you? In my head it does, but a lot of people asking me, it's important, a lot of people asking me about insurance policies. We only have the 90-day policies on them. I did not put the year on them. We spent a lot of money last year, and it's so torn, right, when you're dealing with insurance. So torn. 2 years ago, we had some horses that did pass away, and one of the insurance policies did cover them. We had another horse pass away. The insurance policy had run and expired, and it did not pay out. And that is what forced our hand in regards to the policies last year. The policies were quite expensive, and I can only extrapolate that and say if we do that for 4 or 5 years, a lot of money. So I think maybe we'll go a different way this year. Everybody that wants to insure, now we all will have the 90-day policies. Anybody that wants to insure their horses outside those 90-day policies, you're welcome to. Because there's a lot of people that don't, nor do they want to. So we're not going to. But we can put you in touch with people that will insure your percentages, if you like. So that's important. That's something that we'll do over the next 90 days. Because you'll be covered for the 90 days. Over the next 90 days, at some point, if you want to insure your horse for that full year, then I'm sure we can get you involved in that. The harnesses, we have harnesses that are good. I don't want to gouge people. I mean, it just seems at some point every year, if we just buy a harness, but you have this barn full of harness. We're going to figure out how many harnesses we need. We're going to divide them over all the babies that we buy, but that will take place later on. And I don't think anybody will have a problem with that. I just felt that it seemed egregious to just tack that price on there. So we're going to figure out how many harnesses we need, and we'll go from there. So there really is nothing on your purchase price except for shipping and that 90-day insurance policy that we all have to pay. If you want to insure them further, you're welcome to. And after Harrisburg, I think, or maybe leading up to Harrisburg, we'll know how much we're going to. But it's going to be, let's say, a charge on the October bill, which would run into November, which would run into Harrisburg. Because we're going to know how many horses we're going to buy in Harrisburg. Usually, we go to Ohio, we go to Lexington, we buy some Ontario breds. Then it's, take your hat off and say, well, who wants to buy horses in Harrisburg? And that's kind of how Harrisburg looks, right? And lastly, and certainly not least, is Neptune. He's supposed to be in our barn Wednesday or Thursday. Neptune and Troisa, the other horse, the New Zealand horses. They'll join the other New Zealand horse that we just bought. We got to get her shipped back. We're going to bring Pickpocket back. We're likely going to bring Memory and Imagination back. Now, he'll head back to Corbin, I believe, when Corbin opens. So we got some moving around to do. I just didn't, as you can imagine, I just wasn't in the mood to take care of any of the infrastructure items that we had to today. So they've all been tabled. I'm just taking the day off. I just not feeling it today. So, I just want to give you guys an update, run through what had taken place. I'm sure you all know by now. If you're one of our clients and you didn't know, then you must be under a rock. Maybe there's no Wi-Fi where you're at. Or maybe you're just at work. I don't know. At 6 p.m., maybe a couple of minutes before, every share left in our Ohio Breads that is not spoken for at that moment will be up for sale. So I would not hesitate if I were you, because I know that of the 3 I know for sure have a few shares left. They're still sought after. Chevron bypass, I'll give you guys till noon tomorrow. Then I'll be in. We still have horses racing today. We still have horses racing tomorrow. And even though we're not going to race in the biggest race, which breaks my heart, we still have horses to race on Thursday. One of them being now the leader of the pack for Thursday, which is Arrowhead Hanover. So, with that, I'll let you go. I hope you guys are, well, how can anybody be having a good day? Hopefully you, I don't know, found a $20 bill on the sidewalk. We all just got to turn the page. That's the way it is. That's racing. We can dwell. We can wallow. It's human nature. You're allowed to do it. But the quicker we get over it, the quicker we turn the page, the quicker we get back to having fun. So, that's that. Take care.